keep
3
changing.
actually. Well, who's counting?
Yeah, but your show times keep changing.
It's the second time it's changed.
Okay.
Well, I guess you're right. We first started. I had a 1 hour show. Now it's 3 hours.
All right. See? Soon you'll be doing 4 hours a day, just like us. Before we get to our guests that are in studio here, I wanted to quickly check in with Steve in St. Charles because we were talking about now the mayor of New York City is asking people take off your masks before you get into the bodegas, before you go to any stores, because the people that are stealing could get away with it because we can't see their face. That's right. Good morning, Steve. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Amy. How you doing this snowy day? Hopefully well. My friend owns a jewelry store in Oakland, Martin, and he's had a no mask, no hoodie sign on his door for over a year, and you have to get buzzed in, and if you want to wear a mask, stay home. That's my posture. Just stay home.
Wow. So he doesn't let them in the jewelry store at all?
No.
I don't blame him.
Sadly, it's a family business for about 45 years, and during the Christmas season, he has to hire Oakland police to sit in his store all day, and it's kind of sad. It really is that you have to, have fully armed, fully vested police officers sitting in your business when local business customers come in and everybody's cheery, and the police have to sit in their uniform.
Yeah, and also it cuts into your profit margin when you have to hire them. Thanks, Steve, for the.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks.
I mean, think about. That's anywhere between $30 and $50 an hour. You got to pay that cop to sit in there.
That's how much
when you can be armed yourself.
Right.
How about that? Have a fully armed staff. Come on.
All right. So April 4th, we have the runoff election, but there's also school board elections that are going to be taking place. And Governor Pritzker wasting no time, throwing $500,000, at right wingers who want to win and be part of school boards. He even took to CBS Network, to slam parents who want to have a voice in their children's education.
Your office told us you're very focused on school board races in Illinois to make sure extreme right-wing candidates aren't dominating them. I'm wondering how strong the Republican ground operation is on things like school boards. Is parents' rights really something you think Democrats need to be concerned about on a national scale?
Well, what Republicans are trying to do is, of course, ban books in libraries. They're trying to keep our schools from teaching Black history. They make up things about CRT in schools that just don't exist. And so they've got a lot of extreme right-wing candidates, frankly, on the crazy end of things that are running. And we just want to make sure that people know who they are and know not to vote for them.
A nonpartisan election. Okay.
Yeah, well, he makes these declarative statements without any proof to back up if these right wingers. Who's trying to ban books? What books are being banned? Who's trying to stop Black history from being taught in schools? Nobody.
Right.
But that's his new issue because he's afraid. Start at the ground level, as Dan always says, and make sure that you have control, even at a local school board level.
Yep.
To make sure. I mean, he already bought off those 2 Supreme Court justices, gave them $1 million to secure him the passage of his Safety Act. But now this. So we're having 2 of the right-wing crazies in our studio this morning. We want to introduce you to Theresa Hayes. She's running for District 92 in Will County. And Michael Clausen, the Lockport Crest Hill Homer Glen, District 205. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
ladies
having us.
first, we'll start with you. What is your reaction when you hear the governor just making sure that people like you who are running for school board are kept quiet?
The first thing that I thought of when I saw it is the thing that a small group of us have been talking about for a long time. What is so crazy about wanting safe schools? What is so crazy about academic standards being met or kept or brought up higher? What is so right-wing about that? Don't we all want our kids to succeed? Don't we want them to be taught actual history or actual math or, it just is, it's shocking to me. I keep saying to everyone, what part of this is so crazy that you have to start calling us white ring crazies and this and that?
Now, you have 4 children. Your oldest is a senior in high school. Why get involved now?
In my bio, I said, because we have a website, there's a group of us that got together way early on. And I had said, all 4 of my kids went through that district, D92, Will County Schools. And I thought we had a pretty good run. You know, every parent, every kid has some stuff that happens to you, but I thought we did pretty well. And I'm just concerned that we're not focusing on education anymore. It's all about technology, or it's all about what's new and exciting, when we're getting so far away from core academics and actual teaching, you know, really hands-on learning, that it scares me.
And what about you, Michael Clausen? You are running for school board in District 205. This your first time running for office?
This is my second time running for office. I ran back in the early 2000s in Lamont before we moved to Homer Glen. But I'm baffled by that statement by the governor. Who could be against safety for children and lowering taxes? Who's against that? Or how is that a right-wing idea? It's just so bizarre. Book banning. Who wants to ban books? They're all lies. They're just throwing lies.
Well, there's certain books that are in libraries. I know in a family member's school district that they work in, it's a book called George, and it's about anal sex, and anybody in middle school could check it out. And so personally, I would want that book maybe removed from the shelf. I mean, I'm just trying to think what Pritzker is talking about, but that's fine. There's certain books that I don't think are age appropriate for our children.
Yeah, correct. I want to get into see where the age appropriateness is on these books. I mean, we have a certain rating system for our movies and TV shows, but nothing for our education system and our books.
Right.
So what is so right wing about that?
Yeah. And I don't think it's so much banning the books, but putting them in a place where a 10-year-old can't check out a book that's not age appropriate.
Absolutely.
I think that's the librarian, because those are other important races. The librarian board,
right?
Things of that nature.
And Pritzker's getting involved in the librarian board,
because of DeSantis and all of the DeSantis bill that he signed and all that. But whatever. Now, Mike, I said I was shocked that you're running because you're not really a partisan type of guy. I've gotten to know you and the wife. You're a no-nonsense kind of guy.
Thank you.
You just got involved, really got back involved, because you guys, you're business owners. You were trying to make a living, trying to provide for your families. But what was it that what was that one turning point that happened that you said, Michael Clausen, I'm running for school board?
So a few years back in 2018, we were at my son's school, who had an IEP at the time. We were at a meeting for that IEP. Mm-hmm. And it was in the beginning of the day. We stood up to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we go to sit back down after the Pledge of Allegiance, and they said, no, wait, there's another pledge. And I said, well, no, there's not. There's just one Pledge of Allegiance.
What other pledge are you talking about?
So the pledge was to be good global citizens.
Oh.
To be good global citizens?
There was a pledge in the school to be good global citizens.
You mean like recycle, or what are we talking? Climate?
No.
Incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. We were shocked. We almost couldn't focus on the meeting after that. We couldn't believe what we were hearing. So we demanded some meetings with the administration, and eventually, after weeks, they actually rewrote it.
Do people have their hands over their heart when they're saying this? I've never heard about this one before.
So what my son never told us about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned about it firsthand being in the school. So that day we came home and asked him about it, and he said, well, I haven't been participating in it, but the other day my teacher saw me not participating in it and brought me to the front of the class to recite it in front of the class because he said that he couldn't see it. Well, that's not true. He just didn't want to draw attention to himself. So she made him go to the front of the class with tears in his eyes to recite this in front of the class. And I just wonder, who do these people think they are? Who do they think they are? Where is the academics in a pledge like that? Nothing in that pledge said anything about academics. So it motivated my wife and I to get more involved. It threw us into this. We have no choice. Right. The things that they're pushing on our children, it's insane. It's insane. It's not right. And we need to take control of our schools.
Are you running with a slate here?
We are. So Marty Borisma, Dr. Sandra Rogers, and myself, Michael Clausen, running for District 205 in Lockport.
And how many open seats are there? Are there any open seats?
3. So we're running for 3 spots.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're against 8 people. And
sheesh.
Speaking of the mask stuff, if you don't mind, one of our opponents was saying he doesn't want to relitigate the COVID experience. Why do I have questions? Maybe not relitigate it, but I want answers to questions that I have. Lockport High School segregated children that wouldn't wear masks.
They did?
Oh yeah, they did.
After the TRO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? So they would put them in separate classrooms and they'd have to learn virtually, or did they lock them
in the auditorium?
In the auditorium. They weren't even a part of the school at that point.
So they were shuffled. So when their school day began, they were walked into school and were automatically directed to the auditorium.
Yes. Yes, they were.
Where there was no education,
no
being
learning
taught.
whatsoever?
No, they had their Chromebooks, and so therefore they could check in to their homework and whatnot. But I had heard a couple stories from a couple of kids who said they never even got lunch.
Yeah.
And parents were sending lunch, and they were throwing it away.
Oh, because of what? COVID?
Yeah. COVID mandates. And we were part of a school board meeting where the TRO was held up by a parent, temporary restraining order, saying that this is illegal, it's unconstitutional, and the board moved forward with the mandates anyway.
Oh my God! I had a friend who was on the TRO as well, and her kids go to Blaine, and they just took them out of school, said, "Sorry, you can't wear a mask. You're not in here at all. Go home," and kicked them out of a government-run school, even though they had won the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And now her kids don't go to that school anymore because she took them to a private school where there's a little bit more parental control.
Good for her. I that son that had the IEP that I was talking about. The IEP was a difficult thing to process anyway. As they were explaining this to us, they were not explaining my child. I know my kid. My wife and I both agreed that this isn't our kid that they're describing to us. Well, it turns out he has a mild version of dyslexia, which cannot be diagnosed, and teachers are not allowed to talk about it, even though they're trained in it. They can recognize it. They are not allowed to talk about it with anybody.
Talk about a lot of things, but you can't talk about dyslexia.
Right.
Really?
So now
why is that taboo?
He's at a private high school right now, a Catholic high school, which he initially couldn't get into because of the testing. They suggested us go to a doctor, a brain doctor, for a test. We asked him if he was willing to put himself through this. It was a 2-month-long test, and he said, "Absolutely, I want to do it." He's a fighter. He's a great kid, and he went through the whole process. Diagnosis is mild dyslexia. The report went to the private high school. They read it. They said, "Oh, this kid's perfect for us."
All right. So what's your ground game?
A's and B's. The kid's getting A's and B's now on his own. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. What's your ground game for both of you in the weeks coming up? Like, what's the plan, folks?
I would say that our plan is really just to talk with people. There's a lot of Facebook garbage that goes around. Our town is relatively small when you consider my address is Homer Glen, but my kids went to these Lockport district schools. And it's just the rhetoric that goes around that we're, like you said, banning books. We want to close the schools down. That was another thing, too. We wanted to defund and close the schools down. Me, one vote on a school board, they think that I'm that powerful. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's some other stuff I could do then. But basically the ground game is just to get to know people, talk to them.
Go door to door, knock on
we've been going door to door. We're actually doing a meet and greet next Wednesday at a local restaurant in our town, just providing a little bit of food, telling people to come by, talk to us. I mean, if they talk to us, every time a new person talks to us, they go, "Oh, well, you're not crazy."
Yeah. Oh. When does early voting start?
It was the 23rd of February. Right?
So what's your mail-in ballots program? Are you out there? Because I think that's what all elections are going to come down to now, mail-in ballots. What's your game plan for that as far as early voting?
Getting out, meeting people, door knocking, spreading the word. Door knocking is a big deal.
We have done some mailers too.
Mailers, to get our information out to people. Yeah. You can go to WeTheParentsIllinois.com to find out anything about us or the 19 other candidates running in our area, which is impressive, including all the way down to library board. Yeah. Two different library boards. We have candidates running for that as well.
Piece of advice: you already know who has a mail-in ballot now.
Yes.
Knock those doors. Hey, I'm on the ballot. We'd love for you to vote for me. Make them vote for you right there if you can.
That's a great idea.
Because you already know the list. There's a list of everybody who early votes, everybody who mail in ballot, who receives the mail-in ballot now, you know who the voters are. Go to them.
And we need people to go out and vote at a minimum. At a minimum, please get out and vote.
Yeah.
Okay. And the site where we can get more information is wetheparents.com.
WeTheParentsIllinois.com.
We the parents.
And Moms
Illinois.
of America support you guys too, correct?
Yes, they
Yeah.
endorse this.
Endorse.
Yeah, we're endorsed by them.
Yes.
Great. Well, good luck to you both.
Thank you.
Keep us posted. And any early polling out on school board elections, or do the pollsters just ignore that one?
Well, I think they are polling these school board races in some areas.
I haven't seen any. I would love to see some.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
one of the most important positions you could have. It's a 75% of your tax bill.
That's right.
Whether you have kids or not, it's 75% of your tax.
All right. So get out and vote. Vote for Michael Clausen, District 205, Theresa Hayes, District 92.
Well, I mean, voters would love a rebate because, reduce that tax levy. Voters would
That
love
you
it.
included?
I mean, I'm not in their school.
Oh, okay. All right. And wetheparentsillinois.com. And good luck to you both. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
We've had enough of winter and are more than ready for springtime. But before you get too excited, remember, winter can cause widespread damage to your building's door equipment, disrupting service for your customers, and rapidly turn into next fall's emergency repairs. Call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. and be the company rock star because you took the initiative to repair and maintain those damaged doors now. Regular scheduled maintenance is the key, and Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. has multiple levels of maintenance programs for your company's needs and budget. They'll ensure your doors, grills, and gates are working to specification, as well as advising enhancements and changes to increase the use